The snow blew hard across the Antarctic Research Station. Commander Alan Wright pulled his thermal coat tighter around his body as he stepped out of the small building. The year was 2157, and humanity had spread across the solar system. Yet Earth still held secrets. Alan checked his scanner again. The strange energy readings from beneath the ice had grown stronger overnight. He signaled to his team of 5 researchers who followed him toward the drilling site. "You really think there's something down there, Commander?" asked Sam, the youngest member of the team. "Don't know," Alan replied. "But these readings don't match anything in our database." They reached the large drilling platform that stood on the ice like a metal spider. The hole beneath it plunged 3 miles into the ancient ice. Yesterday, their probes had hit something solid that wasn't bedrock. "Let's see what we found," Alan said. The team loaded into the elevator cage. It descended slowly through the narrow ice shaft. Cold air bit at their exposed faces despite their protective gear. After 20 minutes, they reached the bottom. Alan stepped out first, sweeping his light across the cavern their drills had opened. The beam caught something reflective. Not ice, not rock, something smooth and artificial. "What is that?" Paula, their geologist, whispered. The team approached slowly. As they got closer, they could see it was a structure, a doorway of some kind embedded in the rock beneath the ice. Its surface was made of a dark metal that seemed to absorb their light. "This shouldn't be here," said Alan. "Nothing human made it this far south 30,000 years ago." Paula ran her scanner over the surface. "It's not just old, Commander. According to these readings, this structure predates human civilization entirely." Alan touched the surface. It felt warm despite being buried under miles of ice for thousands of years. As his fingers made contact, lines of soft blue light appeared, spreading across the doorway in patterns. The team stepped back in alarm. The blue lines formed symbols none of them recognized. Then, with a soft hiss, the door slid open. Cold air rushed past them into the revealed chamber. Their lights showed a room about 30 feet across. Unlike the natural ice cave around them, this room was perfectly shaped, with smooth walls made of the same dark material as the door. In the center stood a single pod, also glowing with faint blue light. It resembled a coffin made of glass and metal. Through its frosted surface, they could see the outline of a human-like figure inside. "Is that a person?" Sam asked, his voice shaking. Alan approached the pod carefully. He wiped away some of the frost from its surface with his gloved hand. The face that looked back at him appeared human, but something about it felt different. The sleeping man had features that seemed too perfect, too symmetrical. "We need to call this in," Alan said, reaching for his communicator. Within hours, military ships arrived. Men and women in special containment suits swarmed the site. The pod was carefully extracted and loaded onto a transport vehicle. Dr. Lisa Miller watched as they brought the pod into her laboratory at the North American Defense Facility. "What can you tell me about our visitor?" General Howard asked, standing beside her. "Not much yet," Lisa replied. "The pod appears to be some kind of stasis chamber. The being inside reads as humanoid, but with significant genetic differences from modern humans. On a screen above them, reports flashed in from outposts across the solar system. Strange energy signatures had been detected at the edge of Neptune's orbit. Something was entering the solar system. As if responding to the distant signals, the pod's blue lights pulsed brighter. Systems that had been dormant for millennia began to activate. "It's waking up," Lisa said, watching her monitors. "Whatever was keeping it asleep is stopping." The face behind the frosted glass twitched. Eyelids that had been closed for thousands of years began to flutter. And somewhere in the darkness beyond Neptune, something vast changed course, heading directly toward Earth. The pod hissed as its seal broke for the first time in 30,000 years. Dr. Lisa Miller stepped back, her heart racing. 6 armed guards raised their weapons as the glass cover slid aside. The man inside sat up slowly. He had pale skin and dark hair that fell to his shoulders. His eyes opened, revealing irises of deep blue that seemed to glow from within. He looked around the room, taking in the guards, the equipment, and finally, Lisa. "Where are the others?" he asked. His voice was deep and clear, speaking perfect English, despite his ancient origins. "What others?" Lisa replied, surprised she could understand him. "You were alone in the ice." The man's face showed pain for a brief moment. He closed his eyes and took a deep breath. "My name is William," he said finally. "I was a protector of Earth." General Howard stepped forward. "Protector from what?" William stood up from the pod. He was tall, nearly 7 feet, and moved with unusual grace. The guards tensed, but he made no threatening moves. "From what comes from beyond," William said. "From what has found you again." Over the next hours, William explained his story. He belonged to an advanced race that had visited Earth long before humans built their first cities. They had acted as guardians against cosmic threats. The greatest of these threats was something William called the Void, a vast, consuming force that moved between stars, destroying civilizations. "We fought the Void across 1,000 worlds," William told them. "Earth was hidden, protected by our technology. When our numbers grew too few, I was placed in stasis as a final safeguard." "Why should we believe any of this?" General Howard asked. William walked to a computer terminal. Though he had never seen such technology, he somehow knew how to use it. His fingers moved across the screen, bringing up images of the strange energy signatures detected near Neptune. "Because the Void has returned," he said. "These patterns are its scout vessels. The main force will follow." Lisa studied the strange man. "How did you learn our language so quickly?" "My stasis pod was designed to connect with nearby information systems," William explained. "While I slept, it absorbed your broadcasts, your data networks. I know your history, your languages." An alarm sounded. A message appeared on the main screen. "Europa mining colony under ATACK." Live footage showed a massive dark ship hovering over Europa, Jupiter's moon. Black beams shot down, cutting through the colony's protective domes. Within minutes, the entire settlement went dark. 3,000 colonists gone. The room fell silent. "That was just one scout," William said quietly. "The Void will come for your whole world next." Despite initial doubts, Earth's leaders had no choice but to listen now. The loss of Europa proved William's warnings. Military commanders from around the world gathered virtually to hear him speak. "Your weapons are insufficient," William told them, "but I can help you improve them." In the following days, William worked closely with Earth's scientists. He showed them how to modify their defense systems using principles their science had not yet discovered. Lisa spent the most time with him, fascinated by his knowledge and the sadness he carried. "Were there others like you?" she asked one night as they worked. William nodded. "Thousands once. We were sworn to protect developing worlds like yours." "And they're all gone now?" "I hope not," William said, "but I fear I may be the last." As Earth prepared, more reports came in. 2 more outposts in the outer solar system had gone silent. The Void was getting closer. In his quarters, William stood by the window, looking at the night sky. The stars were different from what he remembered. So much time had passed. "I failed them before," he whispered to himself. "I will not fail Earth." Behind him, on a screen, a new alert flashed. A massive object had just passed Saturn's orbit, heading inward. The Void was coming. William stood in the center of Earth's largest military laboratory. Around him, 50 of the planet's best scientists watched as he took apart one of their defense satellites. His hands moved with incredible speed and precision. "Your weapons rely too much on heat and impact," he explained. "The Void absorbs both. We need to change how they work." Dr. Lisa Miller took notes as William replaced parts of the satellite's weapon system. She had barely slept in 3 days, but couldn't stop working. Earth had only 2 weeks before the Void reached them. "This will disrupt their connection to each other," William continued. The void is not one being but many, all linked together. Cut the link, and they become weaker. Captain Greg Summers entered the lab. He was Earth's best fighter pilot, assigned to work with William on the defense plans. "How's our new friend doing?" Greg asked Lisa. "Making progress," she replied. "But it's not enough. We need more time." Greg looked at the screens showing the void's approach. Time is the one thing we don't have. William finished his work on the satellite and joined them. He had grown to trust Lisa and Greg over the past few days. Something about them reminded him of friends he had lost long ago. "I need to tell you more about what we face," William said. "The void was once a single race that discovered how to absorb other civilizations. They take worlds, ships, people. Everything becomes part of them. Each world they consume makes them stronger and smarter. Like a space parasite," Greg said. William nodded. "Earth was spared before because my people created a dimensional shield around your solar system. But shields fade with time. Why come back now?" Lisa asked. "The void never stops hunting," William explained. "And they especially want me." "You? Why?" Greg asked. William looked down at his hands. "Because I carry something they fear. The last weapon my people created is encoded in my DNA. That's why I was hidden here instead of fighting with my people in their final battle." Later that night, Lisa found William staring at the stars from the base's observation deck. He looked so human, yet so different. "Does it look the same?" she asked, joining him. "The sky, I mean." "Some stars have died," William replied. "Others have been born. But the patterns remain." "Tell me about your world," Lisa said. William's eyes grew distant. "We were explorers once. We found Earth when your ancestors were still learning to use stone tools. We saw potential in your species, so we watched over you." "And the void, where did they come from?" "Beyond the galaxy," William said. "They appeared suddenly, consuming worlds. We fought them for centuries before we realized what they truly wanted." "What was that?" "To be complete," William said softly. "Each civilization they absorb fills some emptiness in them. But they are never satisfied." Their conversation was interrupted by alarms. Greg rushed into the observation deck. "They've reached Mars," he said. "Our outpost there is gone." The three hurried to the command center. On the main screen, images showed Mars with a new dark spot on its surface where the human base had been. Around the planet, 5 large ships moved in formation. "Those are just scout ships," William said. "Their main vessel is still coming." General Howard turned to William. "How much longer until the weapon upgrades are ready?" 3 days, maybe 4, William replied. "We might not have that long," the general said. William looked at the screen showing Mars. "There is another option. My people built a forward base in your asteroid belt. If it still exists, it might have weapons we could use now." Greg stepped forward. "I can fly him there." "It's too dangerous," Lisa protested. "It's our only chance," William said. "We need to leave immediately." As preparations began for the mission, William watched Earth from a window. The blue planet shone brightly against the darkness of space. He had failed to save his world. He would not fail again. William stood in the center of Earth's largest military laboratory. Around him, 50 of the planet's best scientists watched as he took apart one of their defense satellites. His hands moved with incredible speed and precision. "Your weapons rely too much on heat and impact," he explained. "The void absorbs both. We need to change how they work." Dr. Lisa Miller took notes as William replaced parts of the satellite's weapon system. She had barely slept in 3 days, but couldn't stop working. Earth had only 2 weeks before the void reached them. "This will disrupt their connection to each other," William continued. "The void is not one being but many, all linked together. Cut the link, and they become weaker." Captain Greg Summers entered the lab. He was Earth's best fighter pilot, assigned to work with William on the defense plans. "How's our new friend doing?" Greg asked Lisa. "Making progress," she replied. But it's not enough. We need more time. Greg looked at the screens showing the Void's approach. Time is the one thing we don't have. William finished his work on the satellite and joined them. He had grown to trust Lisa and Greg over the past few days. Something about them reminded him of friends he had lost long ago. I need to tell you more about what we face, William said. The Void was once a single race that discovered how to absorb other civilizations. They take worlds, ships, people. Everything becomes part of them. Each world they consume makes them stronger and smarter. Like a space parasite, Greg said. William nodded. Earth was spared before because my people created a dimensional shield around your solar system. But shields fade with time. Why come back now? Lisa asked. The Void never stops hunting, William explained. And they especially want me. You? Why? Greg asked. William looked down at his hands. Because I carry something they fear. The last weapon my people created is encoded in my DNA. That's why I was hidden here instead of fighting with my people in their final battle. Later that night, Lisa found William staring at the stars from the base's observation deck. He looked so human, yet so different. Does it look the same? She asked, joining him. The sky. I mean, some stars have died, William replied. Others have been born, but the patterns remain. Tell me about your world, Lisa said. William's eyes grew distant. We were explorers once. We found Earth when your ancestors were still learning to use stone tools. We saw potential in your species, so we watched over you. And the Void, where did they come from? Beyond the galaxy, William said. They appeared suddenly, consuming worlds. We fought them for centuries before we realized what they truly wanted. What was that? To be complete, William said softly. Each civilization they absorb fills some emptiness in them, but they are never satisfied. Their conversation was interrupted by alarms. Greg rushed into the observation deck. They've reached Mars, he said. Our outpost there is gone. The three hurried to the command center. On the main screen, images showed Mars with a new dark spot on its surface where the human base had been. Around the planet, 5 large ships moved in formation. Those are just scout ships, William said. Their main vessel is still coming. General Howard turned to William. How much longer until the weapon upgrades are ready? 3 days, maybe 4, William replied. We might not have that long, the general said. William looked at the screen showing Mars. There is another option. My people built a forward base in your asteroid belt. If it still exists, it might have weapons we could use now. Greg stepped forward. I can fly him there. It's too dangerous, Lisa protested. It's our only chance, William said. We need to leave immediately. As preparations began for the mission, William watched Earth from a window. The blue planet shone brightly against the darkness of space. He had failed to save his world. He would not fail again. The asteroid base shook again as another blast from the Void ships hit it. Dust fell from the ceiling as the team rushed back to their ship. They'll break through soon, William said, clutching the crystal component. We need to exit through the emergency tunnel. He led them to a narrow passage on the far side of the base. The 20 soldiers formed a protective line behind them as they moved. Where does this tunnel lead? Greg asked. To the other side of the asteroid, William explained. My people built escape routes in all their bases. They reached a small hangar with 5 pod-like ships. Each pod could hold 4 people. These are escape vessels, William said. They're small enough to slip past the Void ships. Lisa studied the ancient craft. Will they still work after all this time? William placed his hand on one, and it hummed to life. The power cores of my people last for millennia. The base rocked with the strongest blast yet. Cracks appeared in the ceiling of the hangar. No more time, Greg ordered. Everyone into the pods. They split into groups. William, Lisa, Greg, and a soldier named Jack took the first pod. The others filled the remaining 4 escape vessels. William activated the hangar doors. They slid open, revealing the darkness of space and the backside of the asteroid, away from where the void ships were attacking. Stay close to the asteroid surface until you're clear, William instructed the other pods through the communication system. Then scatter. Don't head straight to Earth or they'll follow you. The 5 pods slipped out of the hangar and hugged the rocky surface of the asteroid. They could feel the vibrations as the void continued to blast the other side. Where to next? Greg asked as their pod cleared the asteroid's gravity. Saturn, William said. The second component is hidden in its rings. Suddenly, one of the void ships appeared around the edge of the asteroid. It spotted the escaping pods and fired. The black energy beam struck one pod directly, vaporizing it instantly. Go, William shouted. The remaining pods scattered in different directions. The void ship gave chase, firing at them. Another pod was hit, spinning out of control before exploding. Greg pushed their pod to maximum speed, weaving between asteroids. The void ship followed, its strange shape somehow allowing it to move with impossible grace through the tight spaces. It's gaining on us, Lisa warned. William studied the controls of the ancient vessel, then pressed a sequence of buttons. There's a system here my people used for emergencies. The pod shuddered, then seemed to fade slightly, becoming partially transparent. Phase shifting, William explained. We're halfway between normal space and somewhere else. They won't see us clearly. The pursuing ship slowed, its sensors confused by the pod's partial disappearance. It fired several more times, but missed as Greg steered them deeper into the asteroid field. We can't stay phased for long, William warned. The power drain is too great. Long enough to lose them? Greg asked. I hope so. After 20 tense minutes, they emerged from the asteroid field. The void ship was nowhere to be seen. In the distance, the giant form of Saturn loomed. The other pods? Lisa asked quietly. William checked the sensors. One made it out. The other was destroyed. Grief passed over Greg's face. Good soldiers lost, but he stayed focused on their mission. So the rings of Saturn, why there? My people hid the components in places that would last for ages, William explained. Saturn's rings are stable for millions of years. Lisa looked at the crystal they had recovered. What exactly is this weapon we're building? Not a weapon of destruction, William said. Something far more powerful. It can separate the void back into the individual beings they once were, free those they've consumed. How does it work? Lisa asked. William's expression grew serious. That's the difficult part. It requires a living pilot of my species to guide it. You, Greg said, understanding. William nodded. Me. As their pod approached Saturn's majestic rings, they saw something that made their hearts stink. 3 more void ships hovered near the planet, already searching the rings. They know, William whispered. They know where all the components are hidden. The race to save Earth had just become much harder. Their small pod hovered at the edge of Saturn's ring system. Through the viewport, they could see the 3 void ships moving slowly through the countless ice particles and rocks that made up the beautiful rings. We can't approach while they're searching, Greg said. Our pod doesn't have enough weapons to fight them. William studied the rings, his ancient eyes seeing patterns the humans could not. The component is hidden in the brightest section of the rings, in a specially marked rock. Can you sense it? Lisa asked. William nodded. Faintly. My people designed the components to resonate with our biology. Jack, the soldier who had joined their pod, checked their limited weapons. Maybe we can create a distraction. Before they could make a plan, their communication system activated. It was a message from Earth. Captain Summers, this is General Howard. The Void's main fleet has reached Earth orbit. We're engaging them now with the upgraded weapons, but we're outnumbered. Whatever you're doing out there, do it fast. The message ended. Greg's face showed his concern for his home planet. We need to split up, William decided suddenly. Lisa and I will take one of the pod's escape suits and go into the rings directly. Greg and Jack, you take the pod and draw the void ships away." "That's too dangerous," Lisa protested. "It's our only chance," William replied. "The suits can move through the rings without being detected. The pod can't." They knew he was right. Within minutes, William and Lisa were sealed in the escape suits, small one-person craft that looked like silver bubbles. They launched from the pod and drifted toward the rings, moving slowly to avoid detection. Behind them, Greg piloted the pod in the opposite direction, firing its small weapons to get the attention of the void ships. The plan worked. All three enemy vessels turned to chase the pod. William and Lisa floated into the stunning ring system of Saturn. Around them, billions of ice crystals and rocks created a swirling river of light. William guided them toward a particularly bright section. "Stay close," he told Lisa through their communication link. "The rings can be disorienting." They moved deeper into the rings, dodging larger rocks. William seemed to know exactly where to go, following some signal only he could detect. "There," he finally said, pointing to a rock about the size of a small car. Unlike the other ring particles, this one had faint blue markings on its surface. They approached the rock carefully. William placed his hand on the markings, and they began to glow. A compartment opened, revealing another crystal similar to the one they had found in the asteroid base. "Two down, two to go," William said as he secured the crystal. Their relief was short-lived. In the distance, one of the void ships had broken off from chasing Greg and was returning to the rings. "It senses the component's activation," William explained. "We need to move." They pushed away from the marked rock, trying to hide among the countless other particles. But the void ship seemed to track them, moving steadily closer. "It's following your signal," Lisa realized. "The same way you can sense the components, they can sense you." William's face showed grim understanding. "You're right. We've been foolish. That's why they found us at the asteroid base." The void ship fired into the rings, the dark energy beam cutting through ice and rock. The beam passed just meters from them, melting everything in its path. "I need to draw it away from you," William said. "Take the component and head to the edge of the rings. Greg will find you." "No," Lisa argued. "We stay together." Another beam fired, closer this time. "Lisa," William said softly, "I've lived for thousands of years. Your world needs you more than it needs me." Before she could protest further, William pushed away, heading deeper into the rings. His suit's thrusters flared brightly, deliberately attracting attention. The void ship followed him, firing repeatedly. Lisa watched in horror as William's small figure disappeared among the swirling particles, the massive dark ship in pursuit. She clutched the crystal components and turned toward the edge of the rings, tears floating inside her helmet. On her communication system, she heard Greg's voice. "Lisa, where are you? We lost 2 void ships, but the pod is damaged." "I'm coming to the edge of the rings," she replied. "But William is gone." Lisa reached the edge of Saturn's rings where Greg waited in the damaged pod. Her heart felt heavy as she climbed inside, still clutching the 2 crystal components. "Where's William?" Greg asked, already knowing the answer from her face. "He drew the void ship away," Lisa said quietly. "He saved me." Jack helped her remove the escape suit. "We need to keep moving. The other void ships will be back soon." Greg checked the pod systems. "The engines are damaged. We're running at half power. Earth is too far to reach directly." "Where can we go?" Lisa asked. Greg pointed to a reading on their scanner. "The other escape pod from the asteroid base made it to Mars. We can meet them there." They set course for the red planet, the pod limping along on its damaged engines. The journey would take days. As they traveled, Lisa studied the 2 crystal components. William said we need 4. We have 2. How do we find the others without him? Greg had no answer. Their mission seemed impossible now. On the third day of their journey, as they approached Mars, a miracle happened. Their communication system activated with a familiar voice. "Lisa, Greg, can you hear me?" Lisa jumped up. "William, you're alive." "Barely," came his reply. "The void ship nearly got me, but I managed to reach one of Saturn's small moons and hide. I found an abandoned research station here and repaired an old communication array." Relief flooded through them. William was alive. "But I'm stranded," he continued. "And I've learned something important. The void isn't just following me. They're tracking any activation of the components. That's how they knew to search Saturn's rings." "How do we find the other components without activating them?" Greg asked. "There's a way," William explained. "The third component is on Mars, hidden in the polar ice cap. But it must be approached with extreme caution." Their pod reached Mars orbit and docked with the other escape pod that had been waiting for them. 6 survivors from the asteroid base greeted them, relieved to see familiar faces. Together, they descended to the Martian surface, landing near the northern ice cap. The red landscape stretched around them, barren and cold. Lisa led the team across the frozen terrain, following William's directions from Saturn's moon. The ice cap was vast, but William had given them exact coordinates. The component was hidden inside a special vault. William had told them, "It will only open to certain frequencies." Using equipment from their combined pods, Lisa set up a transmitter. She input the code William had provided, and a signal began broadcasting across the ice. For a long time, nothing happened. Then, 100 meters away, the ice began to crack. A small opening appeared, revealing a staircase leading down into darkness. "It worked," Lisa said in amazement. Greg organized the team. "Lisa, you come with me. The rest of you, guard the entrance." The two descended the ancient stairs, finding themselves in a small chamber carved from Martian rock. In the center stood a pedestal, and on it, the third crystal component. Lisa approached carefully, remembering William's warning. "We can't just take it. The void will detect its activation." Greg looked around the chamber and noticed strange markings on the walls. William said something about these symbols. "They're instructions." Lisa studied them. "We need to replace the component with something of equal mass at exactly the same moment we take it." They prepared carefully, using a piece of equipment from their pod that matched the crystal's weight. With precision, they made the switch. No alarms sounded, no energy signatures activated. The replacement had worked. Back outside, they found their team engaged in battle. A single Void scout ship had found them and landed nearby. Strange creatures were emerging from it, tall, shadowy figures that moved with unnatural speed. The Void has physical forms, Greg realized. They're not just ships. The team fought bravely, their weapons effective against the creatures. But more kept coming. "Get to the pods," Greg ordered. "We have the component. We need to leave now." As they retreated toward their vessels, one of the creatures broke through their line. It headed straight for Lisa, sensing the components she carried. Greg stepped between them, firing his weapon repeatedly into the creature. It fell, but not before striking Greg with a tendril of dark energy. Lisa caught him as he collapsed. "Greg, stay with me." His eyes found hers. "Get the components to Earth. Finish this." Around them, the battle raged. Their time on Mars was running out. The escape pods left Mars as more void creatures swarmed the landing site. Lisa held Greg's unconscious body while Jack piloted their vessel. The dark energy that had struck Greg was spreading slowly across his chest, like black veins. "Stay with us, Captain," Jack said, setting course for Earth. Lisa clutched the 3 crystal components they had collected. "We need to hurry." William said the final component is on Earth's moon. Their journey back was tense. Greg's condition worsened, his breathing becoming shallow. Outside their viewports, they occasionally glimpsed void ships in the distance, all heading toward Earth. When they finally reached Earth orbit, the sight was devastating. The Void's main fleet surrounded the planet. hundreds of dark ships firing at Earth's defenses. Parts of the surface showed damage from orbital strikes. Earth Command, this is Dr. Lisa Miller. She called over the communication system. We have 3 of the 4 components. We need to reach the moon. General Howard's tired voice answered. Dr. Miller, our defenses are failing. We can give you cover to reach the moon, but you'll need to be quick. 3 Earth battleships moved to escort their pods through the battle. Void ships immediately gave chase, recognizing the importance of their small vessels. The final component is in Tycho Crater, Lisa told their pilots. William said it's hidden inside a natural formation that only looks natural. They landed on the lunar surface as explosions lit up Earth's orbit behind them. The 3 Earth battleships fought bravely to keep the void ships occupied. Lisa led the team across the airless surface toward a large rock formation at the crater's edge. Gray had regained consciousness, but was too weak to walk. 2 soldiers carried him on a stretcher. It should be here, Lisa said, examining the rocks. Nothing looked unusual. Greg spoke weakly from his stretcher. The other components, bring them close together. Lisa took out the 3 crystals they had collected. As she held them near the rock formation, they began to glow. The rocks shimmered and revealed their true nature, not stone at all, but a disguised entrance. Inside, they found a small chamber similar to the one on Mars. The 4th crystal component sat on a pedestal, glowing with inner light. Lisa carefully took it and joined it with the others. The 4 crystals floated from her hands and arranged themselves in a pattern, spinning slowly. We did it, she whispered. They returned to their pods and set course for Earth. As they approached, William contacted them from Saturn's moon. Lisa, I've found a ship. I'm coming to Earth. The components must be assembled at a specific location, the place where I was found in Antarctica. The journey back to Earth was dangerous. Void ships attacked from all sides, somehow sensing the completed components. 2 of their escort battleships were destroyed, but they managed to reach the Antarctic base. William arrived shortly after in a small ship of strange design. Despite being apart, he and Lisa worked in perfect unity, setting up the 4 crystal components in the ice cave where he had slept for thousands of years. The weapon needs a pilot, William explained, as the components formed a larger crystal structure. My consciousness will guide it. Lisa looked at him with tears in her eyes. You won't survive. William smiled sadly. My time should have ended long ago. This is why I was preserved, for this moment. Greg, still weak from his injury, placed a hand on William's shoulder. Earth won't forget what you've done. The crystal structure grew, forming a chamber. Above them, they could feel the Void's main fleet positioning itself over Antarctica, preparing a final attack to stop them. William stepped into the crystal chamber. When activated, this will separate the Void back into the beings they once were. It will free those they've consumed. Lisa wanted to stop him, but knew she couldn't. Earth's fate hung in the balance. Goodbye, my friends, William said as the crystal sealed around him. The structure shot a beam of pure white light into the sky. Above, the Void ships began to break apart, releasing countless smaller vessels of different designs, the civilizations they had consumed, now freed. The darkness that had threatened to engulf the stars was lifting. Earth was saved. But William was gone. 3 months later, Lisa stood at the Antarctic site, now a memorial. A small plaque honored the ancient guardian who had given everything to protect Earth. As she turned to leave, her scanner picked up a faint signal from deep space. The pattern was familiar, the same energy signature as William's stasis pod. Lisa smiled through her tears. Perhaps somewhere among the stars, their protector still watched over them.